Chapter 10 Blossoms. It was Kate. He didn't hesitate. Hello? His voice cracked under the weight of hope and fear. Kate's voice changed, just slightly. A note of caution crept in, gentling her tone but making it no less firm. River, she said slowly, you disappeared for a week. He closed his eyes. He'd been waiting for this, dreading it. I know. You came into my life again, she said, and you just vanished. No calls or emails at all, just stopped. Her words weren't angry, or that almost made it worse. They were calm, disappointed, honest. I was scared, he admitted. You told me the truth that night. You told me how you felt, and instead of showing up like I should have, I shut down. She was silent, listening. I didn't know how to hold it, he went on. I thought I didn't deserve it. I thought I would ruin it, that maybe staying quiet was the kindest thing I could do. For you. You really think silence is kindness? She asked. Because it didn't feel like that, River. It felt like rejection. I know, and I'm sorry. I should have said something. Anything. He rubbed a hand over his face, forcing the words out. I love you. I've loved you for years, even when I tried not to. And I'm sorry I ran. It's not because I didn't care, it's because I care so much it terrifies me. A pause. Her voice dropped. River, she began slowly, almost painfully. I think you might be chasing a version of me that doesn't exist anymore. The girl from the past. The one who said the right things, who always knew how to listen. You don't really know this version of me. He didn't hesitate. I know you. You know pieces, she said. But what if reality doesn't measure up? What if I disappoint you? I already know the hard parts, he said quietly. I know you're raising two boys on your own. I know you question yourself more than anyone should. I know you put other people first, even when it tears you in two. Her breath held. I heard you that night, he continued, when you talked about your ex, about how he made you feel safe, solid. I heard it in your voice, how deep that loss runs, and I thought, I'll never be that for her. I'm not safe. I'm a storm. You're not a storm, she whispered. You're human. He laughed, bitter and soft. No, I am a storm, Kate, but maybe, just maybe, I could be a harbor too. If you'd let me try. Tears sprang to his eyes, hot and overwhelming. He blinked them away, one hand covering his mouth as a soundless sob fought its way up his throat. The line went quiet again, but not empty. It was the kind of silence that holds space, makes room for something tender to grow. Then she spoke, voice barely above a whisper. I'm still scared. So am I, he said. But I'm not running this time. I'm walking toward you. So, how do we do this? Kate's voice broke the silence, careful but genuine. River exhaled slowly, eyes fixed on the dim ceiling above him. I've been asking myself the same thing. She gave a small, unsure laugh. It's not a movie, is it? No, he said gently. It's messier and harder, but maybe also more real. Kate went quiet for a second, then asked, do you honestly think we can make this work, River? With the boys, the distance, your job, all of it? I don't just think we can, he said. I think we have to choose to. Every day, even when it's hard. But we've never actually done real life together, she pointed out. We've had moments. Calls. Ghosts of what could have been, but we haven't lived the grind together. We haven't had to juggle your rotations and Finn's tantrums and Liam's football schedule. Or we haven't had to argue over who forgot the milk. I want the milk fights, he said. I want the days that feel impossible. I want the boring and the brutal and the beautiful with you. Kate was quiet again. Then softly, you make it sound so simple. It's not. It's terrifying, he admitted. But so is staying in this limbo. It's not a movie, is it? No, he said gently. It's messier and harder, but maybe also more real. Kate went quiet for a second, then asked, do you honestly think we can make this work, River? With the boys, the distance, your job, all of it? I don't just think we can, he said. I think we have to choose to. Every day, even when it's hard. But we've never actually done real life together, she pointed out. We've had moments. Calls. Ghosts of what could have been, but we haven't lived the grind together. We haven't had to juggle your rotations and Finn's tantrums and Liam's football schedule. Or we haven't had to argue over who forgot the milk. I want the milk fights, he said. I want the days that feel impossible. I want the boring and the brutal and the beautiful with you. Kate was quiet again. Then softly, you make it sound so simple. It's not. It's terrifying, he admitted. But so is staying in this limbo. It's not a movie, is it? No, he said gently. It's messier and harder, but maybe also more real. Kate went quiet for a second, then asked, do you honestly think we can make this work, River? With the boys, the distance, your job, all of it? I don't just think we can, he said. I think we have to choose to. Every day, even when it's hard. But we've never actually done real life together, she pointed out. We've had moments, calls, ghosts of what could have been, but we haven't lived the grind together. You haven't had to juggle your rotation. So, how do we actually do this? Kate's voice broke the silence, gentle but laced with nerves. I mean, truly, not just the feelings, the life part. River exhaled, his eyes fixed on the ceiling, the weight of everything suddenly very real. I've been thinking about that nonstop. He heard her shift on the other end of the line, the rustle of a blanket or a couch throw. I don't want to just talk in circles. I don't want another. Almost. Me neither, he said. That's why I applied for a work abroad rotation. There's a placement program through the hospital, mainly because of staff shortages after COVID. It's meant for people in final year residencies. If it's approved, I'll be in Scotland. In 2 months. Kate didn't speak at first. When she finally did, her voice was quiet. You're really doing this? I am. For me, she said softly. For us, he said simply. I don't want to keep living in the what ifs. I want to see what it looks like when we stop running from it. Then we talk through it. Then we grieve it together. But I'd rather risk breaking than be numb. Kate's voice was softer now. I don't know how to let someone in and not prepare for the exit. Then don't let me in all at once, he said. Let me earn it day by day. There was a long pause. Then her voice, okay, if you're coming, where are you supposed to stay? I was hoping you'd tell me that, he said. I can get housing through the hospital, but it's short term. I'd love to be near you. Or maybe in the spare room, if that's not too much. Kate made a noise that was part laugh, part sigh. It's not much of a room, but it's a start. I don't care if it's a mattress on the floor. It means I get to see you every morning. I'm in. She hesitated. The spare room's small. The shower's moody. The kids are loud. I want the... She laughed softly. You say that now. I mean it. And what about the rest? She asked. Your life in California. The rest of your world I still don't really know? He hesitated. There are parts I haven't shared, not because I don't trust you, but because I didn't want you to see me through the wrong lens. I'm trying to figure out how to tell you. I will, when I can do it the right way. Kate's voice was steady. Don't lie to me, River, even by omission. I'd rather hear the ugly truth than a polished version. I promise, he said quietly. No more hiding. Just give me time. She nodded. Okay. And one more thing. What? I love you, Kate. She didn't respond right away. Then finally, you don't even know all of me. I know enough, he said. I know you're worth showing up for. Another silence bloomed, but this one was gentle. Held, she whispered, I love you too. But it's going to take time I'm willing to give. Good, she said, because you're walking into a war zone. 2 boys, bedtime chaos, no privacy, probably Legos in your coffee. He smiled. Sounds perfect. She was. Then finally, you don't scare easy, do you? Oh, I'm terrified, he said honestly. But I'm done letting fear decide for me. Don't say that until Finn screams through the entire night. I'll earn your chaos, Kate exhaled. Okay, we'll try, day by day. It felt like someone had reached into his chest and stitched a broken piece of him back together. Her voice was soft, tearful, but certain. It felt like someone had reached into his chest and stitched a broken piece of him back together. Her voice was soft, tearful, but certain. River swallowed. You're mine? Kate laughed, his favorite laugh of hers. It would seem so. I am River Hayes. And for the first time in years, it didn't feel like pretending. They talked for hours, till the first hint of dawn colored the Los Angeles sky, listening to each other's breathing. The comfortable silence more intimate than any conversation. They began to unravel the complex tapestry of their lives, thread by painful thread. Kate. That night, Kate sat in the dark long after the call ended. The boys were asleep. Finn curled like a comma at the foot of his bed again, one sock off, his cheek pink from the warmth of his pillow. Liam had left his book light on. She turned it off before coming downstairs, pausing to tuck his hair behind his ear the way he pretended to hate. Now, sitting on the edge of the couch, she clutched her mug even though the tea had long gone cold. He was coming. River Hayes, impossibly familiar and still somehow a stranger, was moving across an ocean to try. It didn't feel real, not in the sweeping, romantic way, in a terrifying, grounded way, Like something that could actually fall apart if she didn't hold it carefully. Could she trust this? Trust him? And yet, she remembered the sound of his voice when he said, "I want the chaos." That stopped her, because no one had ever wanted the real version. Not the emotional landmines left behind by her marriage. Not the complicated blend of guilt and survival that came with raising two sons and co-parenting. She wasn't beautiful at the end of the day. She was exhausted. She was sharp and soft all at once. She snapped sometimes. She overcompensated. She cried in the shower when the boys couldn't hear, and he still wanted in. She ran a thumb along the rim of her mug. The truth was, she wanted him here too, not the fantasy, not the escape. The actual man. The flawed one. The one who disappeared for a week and came back anyway. The one who listened. The one who asked to stay. She stood, stretching her arms over her head, her body humming with a mix of anxiety and reluctant hope. In the kitchen, she scribbled a sticky note to herself. Clean out the spare room. Wash Finn's old bedding. Buy extra coffee. Try. Just that. One word. Try. It didn't have to be perfect. It just had to be real. Kate pressed the note to the fridge and stood there a moment longer. Then she turned out the light, climbed the stairs, and quietly opened the door to the room that might, in 2 months, hold someone who had loved her quietly for years, and whom she was just beginning to let in. The kitchen this morning was loud, as always. Finn was on the floor in pajamas, making a jungle out of couch cushions, and Liam sat at the table, half dressed, spooning cereal like it offended him. Saturday light poured in through the windows, all golden and soft. Kate flipped pancakes, trying to steady her thoughts. Her fingers felt clumsy on the spatula. She hadn't slept much. River's voice kept echoing in her mind. "I want to be part of their world on your terms." Her terms. Right. She set a stack of pancakes on the table and took a deep breath. "Boys," she said, keeping her tone light, "can we talk about something real quick before pancakes?" Finn immediately groaned. "Is it about brushing our teeth more?" "No," she said, smiling, "but nice try." Liam looked up, sensing the shift. "It's about someone, a friend of mine, someone I care about." "Who?" Liam asked. Ever the cautious one. Kate hesitated, then just said it. "His name's River." Finn scrunched his nose. "That's not a name, that's like water." "It can be both," she said gently. Liam narrowed his eyes. "Is he your boyfriend?" She paused. "Not exactly, but we used to be close a long time ago before either of you were born, and now we're talking again." Liam stared at her. "Is he coming here?" "Yes, in a couple of months. He's going to be working at a hospital nearby for a while." "Will he stay here?" Liam asked sharply. "I'm thinking about it," she said, "but not in my room or anything. In the guest room, if it happens at all." Finn perked up. "Does he play games? Can he build Legos?" Kate laughed. "I have no idea. You can ask him." Liam didn't smile. "What about Dad?" The question landed like a stone in the room. Kate sat down across from him. "This doesn't change how much your dad loves you, or how often he sees you. That part stays the same. But you and Dad were married," Liam said. "I know," she said gently. "And now we're not. That was hard. For all of us. But your dad and I both want you to be happy. And part of being a grown-up is trying again when things break. Carefully." Liam looked down at his bowl. Kate leaned in. "I would never bring someone into our lives unless I truly believed he was kind and safe and good. And I want you to tell me how you feel every step of the way." Finn crawled into her lap without warning, wrapping his arms around her middle. "Does he like pancakes?" "I think so." Liam finally spoke again, voice quiet. "Can I meet him before he sleeps here?" Kate nodded. "Of course." He nodded too. Then picked up his spoon again. "Okay, just don't forget about Dad. I could never forget about your dad. And I could never love you less," she said. "That doesn't change, ever." Finn looked up. "Can I show River my dinosaur?" She kissed the top of his head. He'd be lucky to see it. That evening the boys were asleep, the dishes were done, and the house was finally still. Kate was curled on the couch, her phone pressed to her ear, listening to River's breathing. He hadn't spoken in a few seconds, just that quiet, rhythmic exhale she used to memorize back when they were teenagers falling asleep on the phone, night after night. "Can I ask you something?" she said. "Anything," River replied, without hesitation. "I need to ask you something real. And I need the truth, not what you think I want to hear." He didn't hesitate. "Ask." She took a breath. "After the accident, when things started to fall apart, I know you were using painkillers, other stuff." He didn't interrupt. "Just listen. I know it was a long time ago. I'm not judging you for that," she continued. "But if you're coming here, into my home, into my son's lives, I need to know where you're at. Really." A long pause followed. Then, his voice calm, not defensive. I was a mess back then, he said. After the wreck, I was in pain all the time, physically, mentally. I didn't know who I was anymore. The doctors just kept giving me pills instead of listening, and the meds helped until they didn't. Then I needed more. And it wasn't just pills, alcohol too. Kate stayed quiet, but her heart ached. I lost myself for a while, he said. I burned through good people. I burned through my own damn reflection. I hated who I was becoming. Did you get help? She asked gently. I did. I went into a program while in America and stayed longer than anyone expected me to. I didn't want a band-aid. I wanted out. I've been clean for 16 years. I go to meetings. I got a sponsor. I got people who call me out when I start spiraling. Kate blinked quickly, grounding herself in the sound of his voice. Why didn't you tell me sooner? She whispered. Because I didn't want you to think I was still that person, he said. I needed to believe I could be more before I brought it to you, before I brought it anywhere near your boys. She let that sit, then said, I'm not afraid of your past, River. I've lived through enough to know how addiction tears people down. I just need to know you're stable, that you're not bringing danger into this house. I would never, he said, voice firm but full of emotion. Kate, I swear to you, I've done the work. I've had to rebuild my life one honest piece at a time. I'm not coming to you perfectly, but I am coming clean and willing. She closed her eyes. Her throat was tight. I believe you, she said. I just had to hear you say it. I want this, Kate. I want it the right way, on your terms, with truth. She smiled faintly, tired and moved. Good. Because if you're coming into this, you're coming into all of it. The Legos, the meltdowns, the co-parenting awkwardness, and me, with my walls and my moods and my very messy heart. I want all of it, he said. I want you, and the life that comes with you. Kate exhaled slowly, the weight in her chest beginning to ease. The silence after River's promise settled deep in Kate's chest. She believed him, about the recovery, about the work he'd done, but something still pulled at her, a tension she couldn't name. You sound good, she said softly. Yeah? He replied, a gentle smile in his voice. But she hesitated, chewing her lip. Something still feels off. Off? You're telling me the truth, I know you are. But there's something you're not telling me. She could hear him inhale. I can feel it, she added. Your voice shifts when I get close to certain things, like you're steering around something big. Still, he was quiet for a moment. Then, I have a meeting with my lawyer tomorrow. Kate blinked. Your lawyer? Yeah, nothing bad, just logistics, he said quickly. Contracts. Paperwork before the move. For the hospital? She asked, frowning. Not exactly, he said. I've been doing some side work remotely. Things I need to officially untangle before I relocate. Clean up my name a bit. Kate's stomach twisted. You're not in trouble, are you? No. God, no. He paused. It's just, I used to live a life where I couldn't say no to people, or to money, or to expectations. It left knots. I'm trying to unknot them before I come to you. She didn't speak right away. Her mind ran through scenarios. Debts, family business, a failed venture, or something else entirely. River. Her voice was tentative now. Are you sure there's not something I should know? Something that might affect me, or the boys? He let out a quiet breath. There's nothing that would hurt you, Kate. I swear. But I get that this sounds shady as hell. It does, she said quietly. And I'm not accusing you, but you showing up here with any kind of mess tied to your name, it matters. Not because I need perfection, but because I need stability. I know, and I'm not offended. You're right to ask. She closed her eyes. Are you hiding something from me? Another silence. Not defensive, not guilty, just loaded. I'm trying to find the right time to tell you something, he admitted finally. Something about who I've been, the life I lived after we lost touch. Kate's throat tightened. And you think I won't understand? I think you will, which is why it's scary. She let that settle. Is it about the work you've been doing? She asked. The name on your paperwork? James said you've always been kind of off the grid. It's related, he said quietly. She nodded to herself. She could feel it. Whatever it was big. And it was still caged behind his ribs. You don't have to tell me tonight, she said carefully. But I need you to know it'll be worse if I find out by accident. I won't let that happen, Rivers said, voice low. Sure, you deserve the truth. And you're going to get it soon. Kate sat back, staring into the dim kitchen light. Something in her wanted to press harder. Something else, deeper, older, told her to wait. Okay, she said softly. But don't wait too long, River. I won't. You're not the only one who's scared, she added. I know. I'm scared too, because what I'm about to give you. It's the last part of me no one's seen. Kate closed her eyes, her gut twisted. She had no idea what that meant, but she was sure she was about to find out. Kate's voice was soft on the phone, the night wrapping around her like a fragile blanket. She started talking about her parents. Their relationship had always seemed comfortable on the surface, the kind of steady quiet that made others think they were happy. But she never quite believed it. She wondered if what they had was love or just a habit, a routine they'd fallen into without really choosing. I always thought maybe they stayed together because it was easier than being alone, she said, pausing as if searching for the right words, like they were just tolerating each other. And I was terrified that's what love was supposed to be. On the other end, River didn't say anything. He just listened, and Kate could almost hear him breathing, the quiet sound like an anchor in the distance. I never wanted that, she went on. I didn't want my life to be that quiet, that empty. I wanted something real, messy, maybe even painful, but alive. Her voice cracked slightly, and she swallowed hard. There was a night in Berlin, the night my dad died. There was this song playing. Actually, it was that one I asked you to change when we were together because I couldn't stand hearing it. It was on repeat for weeks after, like the soundtrack to everything falling apart. She let the memory hang in the air, heavy and raw. That song was this constant echo of loss, like a loop I couldn't break free from. Finally, River spoke, his voice low and careful. What's your song now? The one that plays when no one's listening? Kate thought about it, about silence and fear, and the things she kept locked away. Maybe silence, or maybe just the sound of my own heartbeat trying to keep time with something new. There was a pause, then she asked softly, what about you? What's your song? He didn't answer right away, but when he did, it was almost a whisper. Maybe it's the mistakes I keep making, or the silence after the noise. Kate smiled even though he couldn't see it. Maybe we can find a new song, one that's ours, not defined by the past, but by what we're willing to build. The line had gone quiet for a moment, but it wasn't the uncomfortable kind. It was the kind that only happened when two people knew they didn't need to fill every silence. Kate lay back against her pillows, her eyes tracing the faint shadows on her ceiling, the phone still warm against her ear. I don't want to hang up, she said softly. River's voice came through like a sigh. Then don't, she smiles, small and sleepy. This feels like before, like when we'd stay on the phone until one of us passed out. It does, he murmured. I missed this, missed you. Kate didn't answer right away. Her chest felt too full, the kind of full that made it hard to speak without giving away everything. So instead, she whispered, sing to me. There was a long pause. Then, without asking what or why, River began to hum, low and easy, like he'd known exactly what she needed. His voice came next, soft and steady, not polished, not performative, just for her. The words of a song she didn't recognize yet somehow knew were meant for her, warm and aching with something tender. Kate turned onto her side, pulling the blankets up to her chin, the phone cradled on the pillow beside her. Her eyes fluttered closed, her breath evening out as the melody wrapped around her like a memory. Something in her heart exhaled for the first time in days. And just before sleep claimed her, she thought, this feels like love again, like coming. As the calls continued, a profound sense of healing began to take root in River. Her understanding was a balm to his raw soul, her unwavering presence a comfort. In the vast loneliness he felt, he found himself thinking, this is what it feels like to be truly seen, truly loved. He knew he was falling, irrevocably, completely, in love with her. He knew she was no longer just a ghost from his past. She was his present, his future, the one true connection that made him feel alive. The quiet intimacy of their phone calls, the shared silence, the whispered truths. It was a relationship built on pure emotional connection, untainted by physical proximity or the demands of the world. It was a love forged in vulnerability, across the void. He was now sitting in his lawyer's office, a sterile, modern space filled with the scent of coffee and printer ink. When the final papers were slid across the polished table, his lawyer, a sharp, no-nonsense woman named Davies, offered him a firm, professional smile. Lawyers and businessmen always gave him the feeling he got having to tell his patients' families he couldn't save them. He hated that feeling. It's done, Mr. Hayes, she stated, her voice crisp. The divorce is final. As of this morning, you are officially a single man. She slapped the papers in front of him, smiling. River felt a strange, detached sensation. Relief, yes, a profound, unburdened lightness he hadn't felt in years. But also a lingering emptiness, a coldness where the bitter tension used to be. The end of a chapter, a lie finally severed. And the settlement? River asked, bracing himself for the financial blow. He knew Lakin was ruthless. Miss Davies smiled, a hint of genuine satisfaction in her eyes. Surprisingly, Mr. Hayes, it went remarkably well for you, given the circumstances, particularly the clear documentation of Lakin's recent living arrangements and the rather public nature of her activities. Her demands for significant spousal support were largely dismissed. The court deemed it a clear case of mutual incompatibility, with a strong emphasis on her demonstrable lack of commitment to the marriage. She paused, her gaze flicking to his face, a hint of curiosity, and frankly, her recent partner's public conduct during your family gathering didn't exactly help her case. River felt a grim satisfaction. Ralph's drunken, jealous outbursts and Lakin's casual betrayal on his kitchen counter had, in a twisted way, served him. Their brazenness had, paradoxically, worked in his favor. So, River prompted, a faint, disbelieving tone in his voice. What exactly is the outcome? You get to keep the apartment, Miss Davies stated, and your current assets. Lakin receives a nominal one-time settlement, standard for a short-term marriage, but nothing close to what she initially demanded. She also retains ownership of her separate property and business interests, but the vast majority of your current and future earnings, your investments, she paused, her eyes subtly assessing him, perhaps hinting at some unspoken knowledge of the Velvet Mask's success, remain entirely yours. You are free, Mr. Hayes, financially and legally. River stared at her, stunned. He had expected to lose half of everything, to be bled dry by Lakin's ambition. Instead, he was free. He got to keep everything, the apartment, the studio, the burgeoning wealth from the Velvet Mask. It was a cold, hard, definitive victory. Lakin, in her brazenness, had dug her own grave. Her short businesswoman hairstyle and the lines at her eyes showed how serious she took her job. He stood up, shaking Miss Davies's hand, the finality of the divorce papers, the quiet severance from Lakin settling over him. He was a single man, legally free, but deep loneliness, emotional exhaustion still clung to him like a shadow. He was free, but he was also completely alone, adrift in a life that still felt too big, too complex for him to navigate. And the most terrifying part of that freedom was still wrapped up in a single desperate email sent across the Atlantic, waiting for a reply from Kate. Just as Miss Davies began to collect her papers, River hesitated. Miss Davies, hypothetically, if someone like the Velvet Mask were involved in a romantic relationship, what legal protections would they need? Her pen paused above her notepad. She looked up slowly, eyes narrowing just slightly. Hypothetically, well, given the level of public interest and obsession surrounding the Velvet Mask's identity, any romantic involvement would absolutely require an airtight NDA, non-disclosure agreement, possibly several. River nodded slowly, then looked at her with cautious intent. Are you required to maintain client anonymity, even in extreme cases? She gave a dry smile. Legally, yes. Ethically, even more so. Anything you tell me here stays here. You know that. Then I need your help. Real help. Discretion above all. If anything gets out, it could ruin everything. Miss Davies studied him for a long beat, then placed her pen down deliberately. Understood. Let's talk about strategy. River exhaled slowly. The mask was still on, for now, but if this worked, he could finally begin the slow, cautious work of removing it for good. That evening, River called Kate. The sky outside his apartment was streaked with twilight, and he paced slowly along the hardwood floor, phone pressed to his ear. When she answered, her voice was warm, curious. River stepped out into the quiet evening, the sky awash in fading gold, his phone pressed to his ear as it rang. His heart was steady, but only just. Kate answered on the third ring, her voice instantly grounding. Hey, you, he exhaled a little. Just hearing her made everything feel more real. Hey, I didn't catch you at a bad time, did I? No, the boys are out riding bikes with the neighbors. I've got a quiet minute. What's going on? She asked, her voice warm but curious. I wanted to tell you. It's done, he said quietly. There was a pause on the other end. The divorce? Yeah, he nodded, even though she couldn't see him. This morning, signed and sealed. It's officially over. Kate's silence lingered, then came her gentle response. How do you feel? He hesitated. Honestly, relieved. Sad, too. But not because I miss her. It's just the weight of it. Years of pretending, guilt. It's all over now. It's strange being free. I can imagine, she said softly. It's a huge shift, even when it's the right thing. River exhaled slowly, staring out the window, phone pressed to his ear. I brought you that cake the night before I left, do you remember? There was a pause. Then Kate's soft voice filled with emotion. Of course I do. You showed up at my door with some sad little chocolate thing. Said it was all they had left. He let out a quiet laugh. I wanted to tell you then that I was leaving, but I couldn't do it. I knew you applied, she said quietly, to the program in America. I thought, I don't know, we'd make it work. Maybe long distance for a while, or I'd come to you. I didn't think it was goodbye. River swallowed hard. It was always goodbye, Kate. I just didn't have the guts to say it. Why? She whispered. Why not tell me? Because I was running, he said. I wasn't going for a future. I was escaping my past. I was damaged. I thought if I stayed, I'd ruin your life. And the idea of you giving up your dreams to follow a broken man halfway across the world? I couldn't live with that. You didn't even let me choose, she said. You left and I called Adam every day for 6 months, looking for you. River closed his eyes, the guilt washing over him again. I know, he told me, years later, I didn't deserve that kind of love. I still don't. Kate was silent, the air thick with everything unspoken. Then softly, what happened to you, River? He leaned back into the couch, fingers tightening around the phone. I ruined my scholarship within the first month, relapsed, lost everything, slept in my car for a while, spent years clawing my way back. It was hell, Kate. And the whole time I kept thinking, maybe if I'd stayed, none of it would have happened. Her voice cracked. So why didn't you come back? He hesitated, his voice low, because my parents gave everything to get me to America. I couldn't come crawling back after I'd already disappointed them once. After being homeless, after wasting every opportunity they gave me, I thought coming home would just hurt everyone more, including you. She was quiet again, and when she finally spoke, her voice was thick with tears. You didn't ruin me, River. You broke my heart, but you didn't ruin me. I wish you'd told me then. I would have run with you. You didn't have to be alone. I know that now, he said, voice rough. I didn't know how to let anyone love me without hurting them. Another silence fell, tender and aching. Then River shifted the conversation, his voice gentler. I've been thinking about selling the apartment, starting fresh. No, Kate said quickly. Don't do that. He blinked. Why not? Because what if you come to Scotland and hate it? What if it's not what you hoped, she said. Don't burn your bridges before you know. I want you here, River, but I don't want you giving up everything if it means you'll be miserable. I'm not attached to this place, he said. It's just walls and furniture. But it's still part of your life. You've already lost so much. Just don't lose more than you have to, she said gently. You don't have to prove anything. Not to me. Not anymore. River let her words settle into the quiet space between them. For the first time in years, her voice felt like a lifeline, not a memory. Okay, he said finally. I'll wait. I'll hold on to it. The next few days were a blur of restless waiting. River went through the motions of his hospital shifts, his mind a constant whirl of anxiety. He checked his phone compulsively, every notification sending a jolt of dread and anticipation through him. Had Kate replied? Had his raw, desperate confession been too much? Had he finally pushed her away forever? The silence from Scotland was deafening, each passing hour stretching into an eternity. He tried to focus on his work, the patients, the ER's demands, but his heart and mind were 1,000 miles away. He had just finished a particularly grim procedure, his hands still feeling the ghost of latex gloves, the smell of antiseptic clinging to his skin, when his phone vibrated in his pocket. It was his lunch break, a rare moment of respite in the hospital chaos. He pulled it out, his heart leaping into his throat. The Velvet Mask was soaring. His latest album, released weeks after Vera's passing and amidst River's deepening connection with Kate, had topped charts worldwide. His collaboration with Marcus Thorne was hailed as a critical and commercial triumph. Billboards in Times Square, London, and Tokyo flashed his enigmatic masked image. Fan theories about his identity exploded across social media. Who is the Velvet Mask? Becoming a trending topic. Elias Vance's emails were a constant stream of congratulatory messages, requests for more music, and demands for interviews, all to be conducted via carefully crafted statements and pre-recorded audio, meticulously vetted to maintain his anonymity. River, however, moved through this whirlwind of faceless fame with a growing sense of disquiet. Music was his soul, his truth, his lifeline. He poured every ounce of his being into it, the raw emotion of his grief, his love for Kate, his lingering anger at Lakin in Ireland, finding cathartic release in every note. He was proud of the art, immensely proud. He reveled in the thought of millions connecting to his sound, to the raw vulnerability he poured into his songs. But the anonymity, once a cherished shield, now felt increasingly like a cage. He longed to share it with Kate, telling her that the velvet mask was him, to confess that the very songs she admired, the profound melodies she connected with, were born from his battles, from his love for her. He imagined her reaction, her surprise, her understanding, her quiet pride. He wanted to show her Ghosts, the song born from his shattering Christmas, the song he had dedicated to her, the one that mirrored their whispered words about ghosts holding hands. He wanted to tell her how her kindness, her very essence, had inspired him, had shaped his art. He wanted to strip away the mask, to truly be seen by her as both River and the Velvet Mask, complete. The desire to unmask himself to Kate was a powerful, insistent ache, growing stronger with each passing day. He knew it was a colossal risk. His contract with Elias Vance was ironclad. Revealing his identity would shatter his medical career, compromise his medical future, and utterly destroy the last vestiges of his privacy. Lakin would leverage it mercilessly in their divorce, turning any revelation into a public spectacle for financial gain. His biological family would undoubtedly resurface, demanding access, demanding money, once again exploiting his success. And there was the worst fear, unworthiness. Would telling Kate, revealing the full extent of his chaotic, hidden life, his struggle with addiction, his traumatic past, his relentless pursuit of a faceless fame, somehow diminish him in her eyes? Would she see him as even more broken, more damaged, less worthy of her love? He knew she had her own struggles with disassociation, with a fear of dependence. Would his messy reality be too much for her? Would it scare her away? He had confessed so much in their late-night calls, but the sheer scale of the Velvet Mask's identity, the web of lies and secrecy it entailed, felt like a bridge too far. He paced his studio, the dim lights reflecting off the platinum plaques that adorned the walls, symbols of a fame he couldn't publicly claim. He felt the weight of secrecy, the burden of his hidden life. He was the Velvet Mask to the world, a promising doctor to his colleagues, a reluctant husband to Lakin, and a grieving son to Adam. But to Kate, he was just River, the voice on the other end of the line, the friend who shared his vulnerabilities. He longed to be more, to be his whole self, to truly connect. But the fear of what that might cost, the fear of losing the fragile, precious connection he had with her, kept the words locked behind his lips. The desire to unmask was growing, but so was the terrifying risk. He was caught between his love for her and what protected him. The Velvet Mask continued its meteoric rise, his music permeating every corner of the globe. Elias Vance, ever the shrewd architect of fame, sent increasingly urgent requests for more content, for hints of the man behind the mask. The pressure to maintain his anonymity grew exponentially, a constant gnawing fear that lurked beneath the surface of his daily life. Yet for River, the true battle was not with global media, but with the insidious, relentless manipulation of Ireland. Despite Kate's firm declaration of cutting ties, Ireland persisted, a persistent shadow weaving through their lives. She never called River directly, knowing he had blocked her. Instead, her malice found new, more subtle channels, often reaching Kate through mutual acquaintances or even through comments on social media posts where Kate's art was featured. River would only learn of her machinations in oblique ways, usually through Kate's unwitting mention. Ireland sent me a link to an article about the Velvet Mask today. Kate mentioned casually one night on their call, her voice tinged with mild curiosity. She said it was fascinating how much the critics speculated about his identity. She even made a comment about how some people just prefer to hide in the shadows. I told her it was an artistic choice, but she just gave a little laugh. River's grip tightened on the phone, a cold dread washing over him. Ireland was deliberately trying to sow seeds of doubt, to paint him as evasive, perhaps even untrustworthy, leveraging Kate's own empathy for troubled souls. Another time, Kate spoke of a seemingly innocent conversation. Ireland was talking about how she met Lakin, Kate said, her voice thoughtful. She said Lakin was so lost and vulnerable after you, River. She really framed it like Lakin was the victim, and you were this cold, detached person who just walked away from everything. I tried to defend you, of course, reminding her of what you told me about your past, about the abuse. But she just kept saying, some people never change, Kate. It made me uncomfortable, honestly. She just doesn't seem to get it. River's jaw clenched. Ireland was using every tool at her disposal. She wasn't just trying to hurt him directly, she was systematically trying to undermine Kate's trust, to erode the foundation of their connection, to paint him as fundamentally flawed and incapable of genuine love. She exploited every vulnerability, every past trauma, every perceived weakness. The insidious nature of her manipulation made it difficult for Kate, with her empathetic nature, to fully grasp the depth of Ireland's malice. Kate saw a wounded friend, not a calculating saboteur. She was struggling to reconcile the Ireland she believed she knew with the subtle cruelty River knew existed. She just doesn't seem like a bad person, River, Kate confessed one night, a hint of confusion in her voice. She's so charming, so engaging, but then she says things, little things, that make me wonder, like she's trying to hint at something or warn me about something. River swallowed, the words catching in his throat. He longed to scream the truth, to expose Ireland for the viper she was, but he couldn't. He couldn't risk sounding paranoid. He couldn't risk burdening Kate with the full, sordid details of his life. He was still River Hayes, the man with too many secrets, and the fear of his own unworthiness kept him from truly fighting back against Ireland's subtle campaign. He hated the way Ireland infected his pure connection with Kate, turning even their conversations into a battleground. He knew Ireland's goal, to push Kate away, to leave River utterly alone, consumed by his misery, and the thought of losing Kate, was a torment he could no longer bear. The constant, insidious drip of Ireland's manipulation gnawed at River, eroding his fragile peace, threatening the delicate bridge he'd built with Kate. Her subtle comments delivered through Kate felt like tiny needles piercing his soul, twisting the knife of his unworthiness. He heard her painting him as cold as a runner, as incapable of true presence. The words echoed his deepest fears. He knew Kate, with her empathetic heart, struggled to see Ireland's true malice. He wanted to scream the truth, to expose Ireland for the viper she was, to shield Kate from her poisoned words. But the words always caught in his throat, choked by the weight of his secrets, by the fear of how Kate would truly react to the full, overwhelming truth of his life. The long nights spent on the phone with Kate had become his sole refuge. They were hours of shared vulnerabilities, of understanding, of a profound emotional intimacy he hadn't known was possible. He had poured his heart into her, speaking of his grief for Vera, his past addiction, his traumatic childhood. She had listened, truly listened, offering solace and understanding that stitched pieces of his broken soul back together. He knew, with absolute certainty, that he loved her, not with the intense, desperate longing of youth, but with a deep, abiding love, forged in shared pain and mutual respect. But the silence regarding his true feelings, the unspoken declaration of love, was becoming unbearable. The risk of losing her to Ireland's insidious whispers, to James's earnest, if misguided affections, pushed him to the brink. He couldn't stand the thought of Kate, pure-hearted and good, being influenced by such malice. He couldn't stand the thought of losing the one true connection that made him feel whole. The love he felt for her was a roaring fire in his chest, consuming everything else, overriding his ingrained fear of unworthiness, his terror of abandonment. One particularly grueling morning, after a night riddled with nightmares and a hospital shift that left him emotionally drained, he opened his email. There was a new message from Ireland, forwarded from an old, obscure address he hadn't blocked. The subject line, "A little thought from your friend." It was a link to an article about the velvet mask, subtly hinting at his personal connections, twisting innocuous details into sinister implications. She was escalating. She was closing in. And then there was another email, a simple one from Kate, talking about Liam's excitement over a new football uniform. The contrast between the two emails was a brutal, stark reminder of the two worlds he inhabited. He stared at the screen, a profound exhaustion settling over him. He was tired of hiding, tired of fighting, tired of playing a part. He was losing Kate, slowly, insidiously, to a venomous lie. He couldn't bear it. The weight of his silence, the burden of his unworthiness, had become too much. Then the phone rang. Kate. Her voice came through warm and bright, full of life and laughter. "River, you should see Liam and Finn's artwork. They drew pictures of you. This is going to be a lot," River said quietly. "Probably too much. But I need to say it. I can't keep any of it inside." Kate's breath caught on the other end. "Okay. What's going on? I know you've been hearing things from Ireland," he began. "I know she says she's your friend, and I know you want to believe that. She's not, Kate. She's not your friend. She's Lagan's friend. Her loyalty's always been with her, and look, I know how that sounds, but please listen. There was a pause, the kind where you could hear her thinking, measuring. She told me you were spiraling, she said softly. That you were angry, that you were manipulating things. She said, she's lying, River interrupted sharper than he meant. Twisting things. Ireland knows my history. She knows about my sobriety, and she's used it against me. Years ago, she gave me a drink. On purpose. She knew what it could do to me. He let that sit there, raw and unadorned. I thought she was trying to help, Kate murmured. I thought she meant well, that she was just looking out for me. She pushed you toward James, Kate, he said gently. Not because she thought he was good for you, but because she knew it would hurt me. Silence. A slow inhale. She's always been protective of Lakin, Kate finally admitted. I guess I didn't think that meant she'd try to sabotage you. I love that you see the good in people, River said, his voice catching. That's one of the million things I love about you. But sometimes, people don't deserve that benefit of the doubt. Kate's voice was low. Is that why you're telling me all this? I'm telling you because I love you. Because I've loved you for years through everything, even when I thought you were with someone else. Even when I thought I didn't deserve you. I've never stopped. Her breath hitched. I'm in the middle of a divorce. My mom just died. And I'm still carrying things I haven't told anyone, not even you. But all of it, every piece, leads me back to you. He swallowed. I can't let Ireland keep twisting things. I can't lose you because of her. You should have said something sooner, Kate whispered. I was afraid, River admitted. Afraid of ruining your life. Afraid of being too broken. I thought if I loved you, you'd run with me and you'd give up your dreams, and I couldn't live with that guilt. Didn't think I was worthy of being loved by you. Another pause. Then Ireland. I don't want to believe she's cruel, Kate said, but I'll talk to her. I'll tell her not to speak about us, not to bring you up again. Whatever's happening between you and her. It's not my fight. River exhaled slowly, like something in his chest had finally loosened. Thank you, he said. Don't thank me, just don't lie again about anything. I won't. His voice was steady. Not ever again. He stared at the phone screen, his heart pounding a frantic rhythm. It was raw, honest, desperate, and utterly terrifying. He was laying bare his deepest insecurity, his unworthiness, his fears, his profound love, his betrayal by James, his hatred for Ireland. He was risking the fragile bridge they had built, risking his entire world. He took a deep, shaky breath, closed his eyes, and with a silent prayer that this wasn't a catastrophic mistake, pressed send. The email was gone. The die was cast. The first tremors were subtle, almost imperceptible to anyone outside River's tightly wound existence. His latest album is The Velvet Mask, born from the raw grief of Vera's passing and the bittersweet longing for Kate, had truly exploded. Elias Vance's emails were a constant stream of congratulatory messages, sales reports, and news of sold-out virtual concerts. The music was everywhere, a haunting, soulful melody permeating airwaves and digital streams across the globe. Online, the speculation surrounding the Velvet Mask had reached a fever pitch. Forums dedicated to unraveling his identity multiplied daily. Who is the Velvet Mask became a trending hashtag, a digital obsession. River would occasionally risk a quick glance at these discussions, a morbid fascination mooring with a cold dread. The theories were wild, often outlandish, a reclusive rock legend, a former boy band member gone rogue, even a ghostwriter for other artists. What surprised him, and initially offered a strange, detached amusement, was the prevailing theory that the Velvet Mask was a famous wrong person. Early on, a popular blog had floated the idea that he was a renowned but rarely photographed independent film director who dabbled in music. Then, a prominent music critic, captivated by a particularly soulful guitar riff, suggested he was a legendary jazz musician who had mysteriously vanished years ago. These were famous, recognizable names, but entirely incorrect. The media latched onto these misidentifications, creating a convenient, albeit false narrative. It gave them a face, a story, even if it wasn't his. This, ironically, provided a thin, precarious shield. They were chasing phantoms,